Thank you. It's nothing really. All right, I think we're ready to go. How about you? You ready to go?
Yes. Good evening, everyone. Yay, thanks for coming. Wow, it's so nice to see so many faces from last week and some new faces. It's great. Thanks for being with us. We're going to get this evening started with some congregational singing with Reverend Fran and Martha. So I'm going to invite you to stand up this time. We're going to get moving a little bit here before we get started.
We're going to sing I Am Blessed. Every day I am blessed.
Put your hands together.
All right. I am blessed. I am blessed. Every day in my life, I am blessed, 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 blessed. When I wake up in the morning, lay my head to rest, I am blessed. I am blessed. I am joy, Martha. I am joy. I am joy. Every day in my life, I am joy, 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 joy. When I wake up in the morning, lay my head to rest, I am joy. I am joy. I am love.
I am love.
I am love. Every day in my life, I am love, 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 love. When I wake up in the morning, or lay my head to rest, I am joy. I am joy. All right, we're going to sing God is my source. God is my power. We sing this on Sundays. All right. It's such a good song tonight. We want to hear all the voices. And as Joni Mitchell used to say, even all the out-of-tune voices. God is my source. God is my power. God gives me everything I need. So I give thanks for all my blessings. God gives me everything I need. God is my source again. God is my source. God is my power. God gives me everything I need. So I give thanks for all my blessings. God gives me everything I need. And love is my source. Love is my source. Love is my power. Love is the everything I need. So I give thanks. I give thanks
For all my blessings.
for all my blessings. Love gives me everything I need. Peace. Peace is my source. Peace is my power. Peace gives me everything I need. So I give thanks for all my blessings. Peace gives me everything I need. And always back to God. God is my source. God is my power. God gives me everything I need. So I give thanks for all my blessings. All right. God gives me everything I need. Thank you, Martha.
Thank you, Martha. Thank you, Reverend Fran.
You're so welcome.
There's something about it. I know it's hard after a long day. I got to get up and clap and sway. But it lightens the energy in the room, and it makes everything go smoothly. So thanks for participating with that. Thank you for leading us. Thank you, Reverend Fran. So I'm really excited. I'm so excited, and I jumped in right after Dr. Christian. I figured, okay, if I have one thing that maybe he didn't share with you last week, then maybe I'll be able to get it in before everybody else does. So I was going to be second because I knew he was going to go first. And so for those of you who don't know me, I'm Reverend Katherine Economou. I've been here at Seaside for about 15 years. I've been a minister for 8, and I'm currently the director of education here, and I'm the dean of the Holmes Institute, which is the ministerial training program for the Centers for Spiritual Living, which is a long title that just says, I work with those who are called to be ministers. And so that's what I do. And tonight, I'm presenting my favorite teachings on abundance and prosperity, and it comes from Eric Butterworth's book, Spiritual Economics. This is the book. The bookstore has about 9 copies. They're not open tonight, but if you like what you hear, I'm going to strongly suggest that you get this one. This is a goodie and an oldie, but one of what I think is one of the best spiritual philosophy books about anything, never mind just prosperity. This is a book that I read probably every year, and I'll explain it why. And it's not just because Eric Butterworth wrote it and my husband's last name is Butterworth, but it's not the same. I asked him when we first went out, I said, honey, are you related? You got to be somewhere in there, right? It's not that common of a butter. And he said, well, just wait till you're Mrs. Butterworth. And I was like, oh, right. Haven't taken the name yet. But I will at some point, but I'm not yet. So this is what we're working with. I decided instead of trying to pull in all the information that I'm inspired by in all the different ways that I was just going to go streamline. So we're working with this, just in case you were wondering what it is and where to find it afterwards. So I need to move that off my plate here. All right, so what I would like to start with, though, is a little bit of a centering and an invocation. So I'm going to invite you to take a deep breath here and get comfortable where you are. Just take a nice full breath and just be present here. And so I'll invite you to begin to release any tension that you might be holding. With each breath, every time you exhale, just let a little bit more of this day go. Begin to bring your awareness into the center of your being. And begin to relax. And so we'll just surrender the day. Surrender all that happened in this day and this week so far. Surrender any concerns or any issues you were dealing with before and how you needed to rearrange things to be here this evening. Let's just be present in this moment, in this time together. And so I'll invite you to realize that this is a divine appointment. That whatever it was that brought you here, that some part of your higher self is at hand. Some part of you that you may be conscious of or not has brought you to this evening to receive something. Just allow your heart to open for a moment and not worry about what that is that you need to get. Because the truth is that I'm here by divine appointment, as are you. And we've come together to journey in this evening to open to the divine wisdom. And so whatever it is that you're needing is already here. And so I'll invite you to take a moment and set an intention for yourself for this night. Whether it's to move out of your head and into your heart, whether it's to hear on another level spiritual truth, whether it's to love yourself a little bit more and accept yourself just as you are, just take a moment and set an intention. And for those of us in this room who are experiencing some kind of difficulty, challenge, pain, discomfort, I'll invite you to just surrender it. Let's let it go for this period of time, surrendering it to the infinite one. Just allowing it to be taken care of by that higher part of ourselves, that greater part of ourselves, that we need not know how it works, but just accept that we are connected to in this unity of being. And then if you haven't done so already, I'll invite you to move down into your heart. I don't know about you, but I'm a little bit heady and love my mind so well. But this information resonates in the heart, so I'll invite you to just imagine yourself bringing your attention from your mind all the way down into that heart space, into that center. And with another nice deep breath, allowing that conscious awareness to grow there. Just expand our hearts here. And so it's from this place of the heart that I bless this evening. I bless this beautiful divine appointment. Simply knowing that it is the infinite spirit that has called us together. That wisdom, that creative force, that essence and presence that is in, through, and as all things is that which is here now. Simply all that we see, we know, we feel, outer, inner, anything simply is God, for there is only that presence of God. And so in that there is only one that I am, that each is here, and we come together to celebrate that truth that is the divine source and support and love of all. And so I bless this night and all that will unfold, knowing that it unfolds in the grace of God, knowing that all that is shared and all that is said and all that is experienced is the wisdom of spirit revealing itself to each person here. And so it is with a grateful heart that I give thanks and celebrate this opportunity to come together in community so that all of us, each of us, expresses who we are in the most wonderful, powerful, magnificent way. And that in that each is prosperous and whole and complete and abundant. And so with this grateful heart, I give thanks for it and I surrender it and allow it to be. And so it is. You can open your eyes. Great. And so before we get going on my presentation tonight, I thought we would just take a chance to share. Is there anybody who had anything that came up this week, any realizations, any new insights, any new experiences from your experience with Dr. Christian last week? Anything that wants to be shared? I've got a mic. Anybody? It's okay if you don't want to, but if you do, we'd love to hear it. Would you like to? Did you have something this week? Okay, come on. Yeah, come on. No, I'll go, or I'll come to you. Look, I've got a wireless. I'll come to you. All right, fine. I'll come to you. There you go.
Let's see. Well, my name is Luis, for those of you who don't know me. And I live in Oceanside. And something just amazing happened. And that actually took place 3 years ago. I was actually a homeless veteran, if you can believe that. That's kind of an oxymoron. You give your life for your country and then you end up homeless. Hello. But I decided that I was going to take a turn for the better and do some soul searching and exploring. And anyway, 3 years later, I was able to move into housing and get a transfer degree or transfer credits to the New York Film Academy. And apparently the word spread through the Oceanside Housing Authority. And I got a phone call today asking me if I wanted to actually do an interview. And it's actually going to get published in the Oceanside Housing newspaper, or the newspaper, Oceanside newspaper, because the feature article is basically going to be like how I went from being homeless to being successful.
Awesome.
So it was just amazing.
Awesome. Awesome. Thanks, Luis. That's great. That's great. That's great. Anybody else? I'm mobile with a mic. Here we go.
Hi, I'm Susan, and for everyone in our foundations class, you know that I'm going to be moving, and I manifested a job, and well, today I just manifested my housing.
Yay!
I talked to someone,
That's
and
great.
I can practice. She has a grand piano there, and it's perfect. It's like hardly any rent, and it's amazing.
Great.
So this stuff really works.
That's great. The only sadness is we're going to miss you, but I'm glad for you in your new life. That's wonderful. All right, anybody else? Come on. I can even run. All right, Nancy, I'm coming to see you. I'll only walk in heels this far for you, Nancy.
Thank you. This past week, Colleen and I, my niece Colleen and I went last week. My husband came because I said he had to get on board. I'm not doing this abundance thing by myself. I need some help. So we went, and we just started this week having our solar panels installed. And my husband called me on Tuesday and said they've had some problems with the tiles on the roof. We need a roofer. It's $4,200, and they will split it with us. I said, I don't think so. So he said, I need you to do the talking. I said, sure. So we sat down, and without him knowing, I did a blessing. What's our intention? We'll all be happy. It'll all be fair. La, la, la. So we called the guy up, and I said, hi, I understand we need to have a conversation. He said, yeah. There's a problem with the roof, and it's all our fault, and so we'll be paying for all of it. Can we start tomorrow?
And so it is. There you go. See, this stuff works. All right, so I have to remind Reverend Lori that she's going to need to do that next week because you're all going to raise your hands after this week. Okay. All right. Okay, so everyone, when you came in, you should have gotten our little packet. Everybody get a little packet? Okay, good. If you need one, they're at the door. One of my lovely assistants will help you with that. Okay. All right, so, Ed, we're going to go to the second slide. I'm going to talk about the purpose and the premise of what we're talking about tonight so that we are all on the same page here, okay? So, in terms of the economics of the Spirit, the idea here, the purpose is that true prosperity, and this is not in your packet, so don't look for it. Okay, I realize that. You will need this. I will refer to this. Look at the screen now. Okay, great. Okay, so true prosperity and spiritual well-being flow when there's a consciousness of wholeness. In this way, we manifest our true desire, which is not to have, but to be completely fulfilled and overflowing with the richness of life. All right, so let's breathe that in for a second. True prosperity and spiritual well-being is not about having or getting or manifesting stuff. It's about being completely fulfilled and overflowing with the richness of life. Can we come to an agreement about that? Can we start with that premise that that's what we're going to work with? Everybody okay with that? We're good? Because I can change my workshop if you just want to have stuff. We could do. No, okay. All right. So then going on in the premises. The next one. Okay, there is no such thing, our premise here is that there's no such thing as a purely financial problem. Unhealthy or false attitudes, thoughts, and ideas have created it, and only consciousness can change it. All right, so any challenges we have in our life that are financially based, that it's not fiscally motivated. It's not our national economics that are making it happen. Any challenge that we have financially in our life is because of our false attitudes, our thoughts, our beliefs. And it's only by changing our consciousness can we change the situation. Is that one a little harder to take? Is that a little harder to take? Just a little bit. Give me a nod. Come on, just admit it. It's a little harder to take. Okay, yeah, that's fine. I just need to know where we're at. Yeah, okay. So now we can talk about the subtleties of this. Yes, since 2007 we've had an economic downturn. Yes, our country was in a recession and we're slowly recovering from that. And I'll give you that. That's kind of a human reality that's happening. But because of that, does that necessarily mean that's the cause of the challenges you may or may not, maybe you're not having any challenges, that are happening in our lives. Right? See where I'm going with that? Just because they say the market has turned doesn't necessarily mean you have to lose all your money. Just because so many people are out of work doesn't mean that you are not prosperous and have great opportunity in your life to share your gifts. Just because someone has a hard time finding a job doesn't mean that it wouldn't be easy for you to find a job that perfectly serves and supports you, right? Whatever it is that is being called forth for us to create or to express in our life, there's an opportunity there for you to do that, to give it, to be it, to experience it, to be supported. You just have to learn how to see it, right? It's there. We just sometimes can't see how it's there because we have these ideas about how things are supposed to happen. I look on Craigslist and find a job, or what is it, Monster.com. I look on Monster.com and find a perfect job, and then I apply for it and I get it. That's how it works. It never works that way. I don't know, it never works that way. No, you are who you are. You talk about who you are. You move around in your life, and everybody knows the gifts that you have, and someone says, hey, I really need you, and I'll pay you a lot to do it. That's how it works. And it's only as we are fully, wholly, completely expressing who we are in our life that we allow the infinite source and support of God to support us. All right, so that's where we're headed tonight. We all right with that? You on board? Okay, good. Okay, so the idea of prosperity. Prosperity, I'll give you a little teacherly definition here. The term prosperity comes from the Latin root, which literally translates as according to hope, or to go forward hopefully. How cool is that? Did you know that? No, I know. I love that. It's in Butterworth. Isn't that great? To go forward hopefully. It's an attitude. So it's not necessarily a condition of life to be prosperous, but it's an attitude about life. A truly prosperous person is a fully functioning expression of who you are. To go forward hopefully. So prosperity, so let's say in the broadest sense, prosperity is actually spiritual well-being. It's wholeness, right? A whole experience of full life, of satisfying love, of me saying what I said already, of abiding peace and harmony and sufficiency. It's okay, Tim, I love you. But I knew it was me. That's the thing. I don't know about you, but I knew that was me from the minute I heard it. I was like, oh, hey, I'm talking. It's no one talking in the back row, it's me. Okay, so spiritual well-being, that's what we're headed for here. We're talking about spiritual well-being, and that is the experience of a healing life, of satisfying love, of abiding peace and harmony and sufficiency and fullness. Do you get the feeling of that? That feels fuller. It feels different than the idea of, I need to get enough, right? I need to be abundant. I need to fix what's wrong in my life, I need to not worry about my bills every month. When we get on survival, right? And it could be on any level we're talking about. It could be, a need for millions of dollars versus 20, right? There have been times when, there's not really a big difference there. The feeling of need or of desperation or of worry or of fear around it, it doesn't matter what the amount is. If you need it, it feels that way. But that's different from what we're talking about. We're talking about the opposite of it, which is an experience of life. Being present with your life and not worrying about it. Okay? So the concept we're working with is the idea of living from the inside out rather than the outside in. All right, so the idea that how you feel on the inside, this is Metaphysics 101. And by the way, I don't care if you just stumbled in here tonight. You have all heard this and known this. This is not something that I'm not going to tell you some revelation. Please don't leave now. But I'm not going to tell you some revelation that you don't already know. But periodically, we need to hear it again. And so that whole divine appointment was that you made the agreement that you were going to hear it from me tonight. So I don't want to pretend that you don't know this. I know you do. It's about living from the inside out. It's about realizing the truth of who you are and what your life is about and how you see the world, from those spiritual eyes, and then allowing the outside to match the inside. Instead of waking up and checking your iPhone to check where the stocks went overnight, and then turning on MSNBC to see how the markets are doing by 9, and then reading the Wall Street Journal, and then the New York Times, and finding out, right, to see, should I be happy or should I be worried? One of my favorite stories is I used to live with my brother and his wife. And it was a really fun time in my life. I was really young, and I was taking care of their daughter, and I was just moved to California, so I really didn't own anything, and didn't have any money or need any really at the time, and was just getting settled in here, and it was fun to be in somebody else's life, like to be living with them, and seeing how they operated. And so my brother would do the finances. And my sister-in-law would be in the kitchen, and she'd say, "Are you done yet?" And he'd be like, "No." "Are you done yet?" "No." And then he'd say, "Okay, I'm done." She goes, "Are we rich?" And he'd go, "What do you think?" And she said, "I think we're rich." And she'd go and make dinner, and I kept remembering hearing it, "Are we rich?" With the question, and he'd be like, "What do you think?" And he was probably saying no, and she was probably saying yes, and it's just an attitude. It's just their idea of it. Are you rich? Or are you poor? It's a state of mind. No matter how much money you've got, it's a state of mind. And if we hold on to that state of mind of richness, of wholeness, of fulfillment, of all of that, then the outside starts to match the inside. So the idea is we have to continually focus and work on getting that inside aligned with, are you rich? Yes, I'm rich. Right? Okay. So our goal, like I said, is not to make money or to acquire things, but to achieve the consciousness through which substance will flow forth when and as you need it. God does not. Oh, there's a story from the book. This is one of my favorite stories from the book. There's a woman who was at a workshop that Joel, the other guy, at Eric Butterworth was teaching, and she said, "I am the daughter of a king. I should wear sable. I am the child of the Most High God. God wants me to wear sable." And Butterworth looked at her and he said, "God doesn't want you to wear sable. God wants you to be stable." So the idea is not about getting stuff. It's about having the consciousness of fullness. Now so let's just say that, because, there's some people who like the finer things. And I'm not saying that they're bad. I don't think stuff is bad. Stuff is not bad. Money is not bad. I like stuff just like the rest of everybody does, I like the stuff to be sufficient and to be full. But if it's the manifestation of beauty, if it's the manifestation of the fullness, if the intention of it is the manifestation of that expression of your lavish abundance, rather than an ego-based, God wants me to wear sable, right? There's a difference in that. And so there's one thing. It's about the intention. It's about the inner understanding of it. Okay. So then can we go to the next slide, actually, Ed? So this is Emily Cady, whose metaphysical teacher wrote a book called Lessons in Truth. She said, so we're talking about substance here. God is not a being with qualities or attributes. Now, anybody who was in my spiritual mind treatment workshop on the weekend might have an issue with me about this one, by the way, but we'll talk about it. But he is good itself, coming into expression as life, love, power, and wisdom. So, okay, again, God is not a being with qualities or attributes, but he is good itself, coming into expression as life, love, power, and wisdom. So, God is the allness of good. God is not wise. God is the allness of wisdom, right? So we're talking about a presence here. And the more that we can impress upon ourselves the idea of God as the presence in its fullness and in its different attributes, the better we can allow its support to be right where we are. God is not a giver of divine substance. God is the allness of ever-present substance in which we live and move and have our being. So it's not like we get something from God. It's not like, if I, do my spiritual mind treatment fine and I do about 20 minutes of meditation and I say some affirmations, that God's going to give me what I really need, that I'm going to get it because God's going to give it to me. Or if I treat right enough, and I get that sometimes, if I do my prayer right enough, am I going to get what I need, That's not the truth. God is the allness and the fullness of substance. It's right where we are. And so it's revealing it, it's seeing it, it's allowing it to come into our experience. That's where we're headed. So there's a subtle difference there, right? I've been doing a lot of workshops lately. It's kind of fun. All right, so the concept I'm working with is that God is present in every moment, everywhere in its fullness. So the statement that we hear all the time is there's no spot where God is not, right? So wherever any of God is, all of God is. That's important. Wherever any of God is, all of God is. And so what does that mean? The allness of substance is right where any of God is. So if there's any piece of you that's God, which we know that you are, it is, that the allness of the infinite substance is available right where you are. It's the only thing that exists. It's right where you are. You are given everything that you need to thrive. We just need to figure out how to see it. Right? So, let's see. So as we recognize and acknowledge and accept this truth, okay, so the whole idea that we come to a collective agreement that wherever any of God is, all of God is, and that as we accept that for ourselves, that we're able to see clearly how it comes into our life and how it reveals itself as who we are. This is an inside job. It's an inside job. If you do this work from the inside out, then anything you're looking for on the outside will come to you. It'll show up. I used to be convinced that I should start a dating service with UPS guys. When we used to do all the relationships, workshops and things like that, they come to you. You just have to answer the door, right? So it's kind of like that with God and with what we're trying to create in our lives. Opportunity comes to you. And I have a cute mail lady too, by the way. It's equal opportunity service, but it comes to you. Okay, so, and the truth is there's no limitation. There's really no limitation except for the one that we put on ourselves, right? We are the only ones who can limit anything in our lives. And I love the idea, if you think about nature, this is the important part is to think about how the divine supports nature. Think about fish swimming in the ocean. That example is really good. It's a little old, but it's really good. We are like fish swimming in the ocean of substance and support. Fish don't worry about where the water's going to come from, do they? They don't. But we have this thing called, reason. We have this thing called reason. And when we get our brains moving, we start thinking too much. And when we think too much, we create these concepts, I would call them. And it's just the way we try to understand the world around us, right? We have to create concepts and constructs to understand how we live and move in our life and how it is that we can operate and function. It's that lovely thing called the ego that is created to support us and to keep us safe. And then it gets a hold of the keys and locks us in our little house, that we get stuck in our ego house. And realize that I'm safe as long as I have this little boundary, and then you have a limitation. But the truth is, we think each of us are these people sitting in this room, right? There's so many of us in here sitting in these. Each of us has a chair, and we have a little space between us, and there's plenty of oxygen and all that for our bodies. But the truth is, each one of us is bigger than we could get in a church, right? Each one of us energetically, spiritually, is infinite. So we're all like banging at the door trying to get in here because we are the divine made manifest. And so we walk around in our world with that support. And the part of us that we don't know is behind us or above us or whatever, the big piece of us, as we're moving around, that's the part that has the wisdom, right? That's the part that has the infinite substance for us. That's the part that has the opportunity. That's the part that has all the knowledge that we need to be fulfilled, and we don't acknowledge it because we think, I'm this brain, and I've made these mistakes, and I don't think I'm that intelligent, and my mom was very thrifty. If I hear that word, oh my goodness, God bless my mother, but the word thrifty just sends me flying, It's taken me years to work on that. Still working. I'm still working. But the whole idea of all of that, that we are products of the small part of ourselves that is in these bodies and in these brains are the products of our experience that have come forward. But the infinite part of us doesn't really care about that. It's laughing at us. Why are you making these limitations? Why are you setting these boundaries? Why are you bringing up these walls? I just want you to have everything that you want. That's what God's saying to you. That's what you as God as you is saying. I just want to give it to you. Let me give it to you. And we need to say yes to accept it. And so in order to do that, we have to break those walls down. We have to let go of those old concepts and those old ideas. So the idea is this, that as we are able to take responsibility for our lives and for the situations that we've gotten ourselves into, and I would start by laughing at it a little bit, by the way, whatever is happening. Again, big or small or anywhere in between, a little bit of divine laughter and absurdity. Life is hilarious. It can be hilarious if we let it. And so as we can laugh at where we're at to begin with, you can start to change it. You can start to shift it. But it's that taking responsibility and acknowledging, okay, something in my consciousness has gotten me to this point. All right? So there's no blame. When we laugh at ourselves, there's no blame. There's no beratement. There's none of that negativity. We just have to acknowledge, yeah, we're here. Okay, where do I want to go? And how do I start to get there? And we take the step. And to take that step, it's a step along in consciousness. Okay. So we're going to do a little bit of a meditation here. Thank you, Reverend Fran. Again, I'm going to invite you to just get comfortable in your chair. We're going to do some guided meditations this evening. I'm not going to have you jump up and down and run around the room. I thought about it, but I'm not going to. Sorry. So I'll invite you to take a nice deep breath. There's water here somewhere for me. Again, moving into that inner realm. Taking another couple of deep breaths, and as you exhale again, just surrendering anything that you still may be holding from the day. Letting go of anything I may have said already. Just allowing the higher self to take the wisdom in that it needs. And so I'm going to invite you to imagine that you are floating in the center of your own ocean of abundance. There are peaceful, calm waves. And you need not do anything but float. You are completely supported. You don't need to worry about treading water. This is an amazing ocean. It just completely holds you. And this is your own ocean of abundance. Everybody has their own. There are infinite numbers of oceans of abundance. And so as you begin to realize that this is just for you, that this is a space where you're cared for, I'll invite you to begin to allow the desires within your heart to be spoken into this ocean of abundance. And the amazing thing is, as it's spoken, it's manifested. It floats up to the top and gently floats over to where you are. And the amazing thing about this ocean is the more that you speak your desires into it, the more abundant it becomes. The ocean replenishes itself. It multiplies, bringing forth more blessings and more gifts. And so any desire of your heart, there's not one that's too large or too small. It just is. And then is created and gently floats to the surface and floats over to where you are. And so the other thing about this ocean of abundance is that these are healing waters. And so anything that you're holding on to, any old ideas of your own self-worth, any old ideas about limitation, any fears that you may be holding on to in your life, whether it's about finances or relationship or whatever part of your life, if you just cast them adrift in this ocean, they are gently taken underneath the water and healed, transmuted, transformed. And so I'll invite you to just let go. Let go of what doesn't serve you anymore. Let go of those self-judgments that you might be holding on to. Let go of the story. It doesn't serve you. And so just feel here for a moment what it feels like to be completely supported. Feel what it feels like to have all that you need. And so as those experiences have been cast off, realize that as these gentle waves wash over you and guide you and support you, carry you along this peaceful journey here, that the presence of love magnifies. Beginning at the center of your heart, that divine essence of God that is the divine love grows from the center of your heart out into your body, moving out into your ocean of abundance. And so make a reference for yourself of this. This is your private ocean. This ocean is ever supporting you and ever guiding you, ever loving you, ever healing, because it is you. And so it's in that sense of gratitude and love, I'll invite you to start to slowly come back into the room, feeling your feet on the floor, feeling yourself supported by your chair. Another nice deep breath. When you're ready, opening your eyes. Okay. Yeah. How are we? Are we good? Could you do it? Did your stuff come? Did the desires come? Could you let it all go and heal it? Anybody give me a nod? Someone? Yes, no, maybe, yes, no, maybe. Yes. Okay, good, good. So that's there for you. That's a really easy way to go back in and feel supported, right? That's how we are every minute of our life. That's how we are, and we forget. Doesn't that stink? We forget that we are cradled in the divine creation. I say this a lot, and I'm sorry if you've heard me say it a lot lately, but each of us was a thought in the mind of God, and we were created. We are that divine gift made manifest to this world. The infinite wanted to know itself as you, and you were created. This life is a blessing and a gift. And so the idea here is as we let go of these limitations of thinking, I am this little thing, that we can be the gift into the world, and as we're the gift into the world, then we open the channels to receive it, to receive all of the gifts of the world. Okay? So, talking about being a full channel, a full divine gift, Reverend Fran has a gift for us, I think.
I do.
Thank you.
Reverend Catherine, you're so wonderful tonight. It's just it's
you.
inspiring, and I'm honored to be a part of your gift tonight.
Thank you.
This is a beautiful song that was written by Jimmy Webb and done by Patty Austin several years ago. And I'm watching the words and I'm thinking, Catherine, it just has to mesh somewhere. Okay. Because Catherine said to me, sing something from your heart, Fran. So this is definitely from my heart. Even though the words are not my own, I got to meet Jimmy Webb in New York City one time, and he's an awesome songwriter and composer. My best dressed preacher, a self-plain taught teacher, the world's more confusing for him than for you. He's not well read and perhaps not well bred, but he said something once, I believe it was true. Live and let live, love and be loved. and it shall be given. If you seek, then you will find. Open the door to your heart and open it wide. Someone is standing outside. Come diplomats and statesmen and learned debatesmen, if you don't throw the book away, they'll throw it at you. Come on, butchers and bakers and revolution makers, if there's one thing long written, and it might still be true, live and let live, love and be loved, give and it shall be given. If you seek, then you will find. Open the door to your heart and open it wide. Oh, someone is standing outside. Is standing outside. Is standing outside.
Beautiful. That's beautiful. Thank you, Reverend Fran. That's beautiful. That's gorgeous. She's such a gift. And do you know she's a miracle? Do you know that Reverend Fran is a miracle? You are such a miracle. We are so grateful for you. Okay, so actually now we can look at your little packet here, and we can go to our next slide. So we're going to go over the second page, is the basic rules for living a prosperous life. I'm sending you home with rules. We know that we don't like rules in this organization, don't we? I don't like it when people tell me what the rules are. Well, I'll tell you, this will help you, so we can get over that. Okay, so the first one is this. Refuse to indulge in casual conversation about the bad economy, the cost of living, and about anything you really don't want to say yes to. Yes, okay. Now, I know that that's a very interesting time in the next, 11 days or something like that through the, the election and then the post-election talk and all of that, and then all the fear-mongers who are going to say, if this one wins, oh my God, we're in trouble, and the other ones are going to say, oh, if this one wins, oh my God, we're in so much trouble, So the whole idea is turn off CNN for a little while, or forever, but just turn it off. And it's really, it's funny, I've in preparing for this, going through my week, I was watching where I was at different points during the week and listening to conversations, right? Even at church, okay? Even at church where we think that we're, we set the intention to be loving and accepting and positive, and casual conversations about anything that's negative, kick them out of your life. It serves you better to turn around and run. So that means for my gentlemen friends in the room tonight, the barber shop, right? The coffee shop. I was at the coffee shop this week in my little small town Fallbrook, and we have the men's club who meets there. And I actually got down and sat in the middle of the men's club this week. And they looked at me. they convene every day about 2:30, and there's one day when I had a babysitter, so I went down to do some reading, actually, of spiritual economics. I had my book in my seat in the little circle space where they all come and gather. And they all came and gathered, and they looked at me, and they started to have their conversation. And I was so positive, and every time I said something positive about one candidate or the other, I actually found something to say positive about both of them. You know, I'm not going to tell you who it was harder, who it was easier. I'm not going to do that. But, and they just looked at me. And then they'd ask me what do you think about this? And then I'd say something positive, and then they'd look at me, you know? And it reminds me that we just get in this habit of, ooh, did you read this? And what do you think about this? And oh my God. And so we're talking about politics now, but we know we could be talking about the Kardashians. Anybody, you know that in the room, or something else, you know, or whatever. I heard there's something called Honey Boo Boo out now, and I have no idea what that is because I've stopped watching TV. You know, some reality whatever's going on. You know, stop talking about it. Stop talking about the, excuse my language, crap. Just stop. Okay, and say yes only to things. Only talk about things you want to say yes to and you want to see grow. All right. It's important to say no when you have to say no, but if you can, say yes. Only talk about stuff you can say yes to. So that's the first rule. All right, so second one is important. Eliminate thoughts such as I can't, I'm afraid, and there's not enough from your consciousness. There's not enough time, there's not enough money, there's not enough this, there's not enough that, there's not enough blah, 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 blah. It's all blah, blahs. It's all blah, blahs. It's all baloney. Stop it. Right now. No, I can't. I'm too old. I'm too young. I'm too dumb. I'm too smart. I'm too whatever. No. Just let it go. There's no I can't. There's only I can and I know. I can and I know. That's what we're saying this week, all right? So everybody together. I can and I know. Thank you. All right, so the third one, talk only of things that you want to see live and grow. I'm a gardener. And I've been talking over my little plants. They're doing really well. I'm going to have so much broccoli and spinach this year. I'm not going to know what to do with. I'm talking over those things that I want to see grow. What do we want to see grow? I want to see my abundance grow. I want to see my love grow. I want to see peace grow and harmony grow. I want to see acceptance of each other grow. That's what I want to talk about. So that's what we're going to talk about this week. And from now on, by the way. Okay, so the next one, keep your thoughts centered on the ideas of abundance, sufficiency, and well-being. So what this means is we keep our eyes on God. You know, we keep our mind on the fact that we think we're having these human lives, and the truth is we're having a spiritual experience. That God is the only thing that is happening, and we're judging it, good, bad, ugly, beautiful, whatever. And the moment we start to think that it's not God, we're off the mark. Okay? So whatever it takes in your day to remind you that we are centers of the divine life, you got to figure it out, whether it's putting a Post-it note in your wallet, so every time you open your wallet that says God or Spirit or I am choosing my life, you know, whatever it is, put it in your wallet, put it in your car, put it on your mirror, just to remind you of God. Put your favorite book, Eric Butterworth's book, by your bed, you know, so that you get to read at least 2 lines of it at night, so you can remind yourself that I am not just this life. And the stuff that happens, because life is always going to happen, stuff is always going to happen, but we have our consciousness above it. That we are floating on that gentle sea, and it doesn't affect you. It doesn't have to affect you. Okay, can we agree to that? Yes. Is that a good one? Okay, good. All right, so let's go to the next one. Yep, next slide, please. Okay, so in support of that, create an affirmation to use daily. Excuse me, such as God is my instant, constant, and abundant supply. So that's mine that I got from Eric Butterworth. Does anybody have an affirmation they use? God is my source. That sounds good. Anything? Go ahead.
All my desires are coming
All my desires are coming to me now. Good, good. I live and move and have my being as God. How about that? The power of the divine is made manifest as me, right? You want a powerful statement of your unity of being with the divine, and use it. So you get to develop yours. You can take mine if you want. That's fine. I share. I've learned how to share. I have a 5-year-old. I've learned how to share. I'm good. I'm good at that. Okay. So then meditate daily on the realization that you are surrounded and filled with a divine presence that wants only good for you because you are expressing its life. Take time every day to just be. That's my sliding in the spiritual practice there, meditation. I didn't write meditate. I didn't write that. No, because when I say that, everybody goes, oh, I got to meditate. They want me to meditate. And people only do that until they start meditating, and they go, oh, I'll meditate. Right? Anybody in the room? Right? When you start doing it, it's like, okay. She told me I had to meditate. My teacher says I have to meditate. I'm going to be 10 minutes late for work because I have to meditate, Oh, meditate. But until then, it's like, all right, so just take some time every day. If you're in the neighborhood, we sit down for 15 minutes at Seaside at noon every day. Everybody, the staff comes together, and we just come together for 15 minutes, and we meditate, and then we pray. And that's enough to even begin to remind yourself that you are in the sea of the divine. Okay? All right. And then nature. Spend 5 minutes every day in nature. Look, we're in Southern California. You could be barefoot in nature, too. So allow yourself to absorb its wisdom. Being connected to the planet empowers you to live in harmony with all life. I had an interesting experience this week. I live out in the country, and so we have lots of critters and things. It's really kind of fun at my house. I live in Fallbrook, and so I had this big spider web that had this spider. I swear it was this big. I swear. I'll take a picture and put it on my Facebook. I bet. I'll tell you, it's still there. It's going to be there when I get home. It's this big. And she, whatever, kept making these big webs, but it was attached to my car in the morning. And I felt really bad because I'd have to go and be like, dude, get out of my car. I got to go, And he would make these beautiful, intricate webs, right? And so finally she smartened up, and started going a little bit higher. But the other day I've been working a lot of nights, so I come home at 10 o'clock, and there's the spider sitting in the web, and I'm telling you, this big. And she's sitting there, and she's, the other morning I was getting ready to go, and it's right by my garden, so I walked my little one down with the babysitter, and we were going over, she's going to pick a pomegranate, and so we were going over to the pomegranate tree, and I noticed a bee in the web. And I was looking, and unfortunately she's still a little alive there. And the spider was out during the day and making her lunch, basically, and getting ready to have her lunch. And so I was so horrified and was like, what am I going to tell Emily? Am I ready to explain death? And we have a little bit, but oh my God, do I have to explain the circle of life? Are we going to pull out the Lion King? Am I going to start doing whatever to explain how this works? And I was all worried about it and freaking out. And the babysitter just looked at me and she said, it's life. The spider needs to eat. She said, it's life, And Emily was like, oh, cool, let's go get a pomegranate. She didn't even notice it, and I was like mesmerized by the whole experience of it. But that's, and I digress, I'm sorry, I told a little story on the side. That wasn't part of the timing here. But the idea for me is that when things like this happen, it shows the greater connection that we have to all things. There's so much wisdom. I could do 4 talks about that experience. You know what I mean? I could contemplate and meditate on that for a month and have the perfection of the web and the creativity of it and the persistence of that big spider to continually recreate itself and its web and so its persistence and its dedication and its intelligence that it finally picked the right place to the throughway to get its food source. But that's the idea, and not necessarily go out and find I'm not saying for you to do that, but go out and put your feet in the grass. Touch the earth. Look at the ocean. We are so blessed. Watch the ocean. right? Be present with the changing of the seasons. Did you feel the cold morning this morning? Oh my goodness, how beautiful and wonderful was that? And what it feels like. Sorry. My scooter friend over here is going, oh, it was cold. Yeah, no, sorry. That's the whole car thing. And just be conscious that we're part of a greater system. Not only are we part of this greater presence and this greater being, but we're part of this nature and this peace and this harmony. So those are our rules. Okay? We ready for those? Okay, good. All right. So, an hour and a half seemed like a long time when I was putting this together, and it's really not. All right. So, we're gonna do one more thing, and then I'm gonna lead you through the life plan here that you've got in your workbook. Excuse me, I'm sorry. All right, so the last thing I want to point out here, and I could do like a month on this. Oh, I love this material. I hope you get the book and read it because I just adore it. I really do. And then come talk to me after church about it when you read it because it'll be really fun. We can continue. So the last thing I want to talk about is one of the main faculties that we have to step forward in embodying this belief, all right? So we've gotten to the place where we know that we are part of this infinite source that's ever giving. It's the part that created us. It's the part that wants us to live fully. So as we move into our heart and allow ourselves to be who we've come here to be, right? To be full expressions, to let go of those sense of limitations, that we're sourced and supported. All right? So it's an ever-expanding, growing essence of God. So that's where we got to so far, right? So as we let go of those, this side of the room said yes. That side of the room, yes? Are we there? Are you with me? Okay, good. All right, just want to make sure. All right, so as one of the ways that you can step forward in integrating this and moving forward into embodying this is through what Eric Butterworth calls the law of visualization. Now, the law of visualization, Thomas Troward, another inspiration for Ernest Holmes, said, having seen and felt the end, you have already willed the means to the realization. So when we visualize something, we've already set the path in mind, through the creative process, into fruition. All right. So whenever we think of something and we have our minds on the outcome, you've already set all the steps. Even though you don't have to figure out what they are, you've already set all the steps into how that end is gonna happen. Now, I'm not talking about vision boarding and, which is not like waterboarding, but vision boarding or putting things together, or visioning things, or whatever that is. It's not about that. What we're talking about is, and the easiest way to explain this is in the negative. I'm talking about worry, right? When we worry about something, what happens? You think about the worst thing that's going to happen. What's the negative in the concept? And I've heard people say, well, if I worry about it, if I think about the worst, I'll always be happily surprised. No, you won't. You will not be happily surprised because it will always be the worst thing that you could worry about. The worst thing that you could imagine is going to happen. And if you think about what happens when we worry about something, it just kind of is a tape that runs in our head, right? We don't really have control over it. You kind of let it go. It slips through our fingers of our mind and just operates, and it just keeps going and going and going. And then all of a sudden, well, the worst thing happened, and you survived it. The truth is, you'll survive anything. The infinite is not gonna not support you through whatever you create, because it's the infinite's creation. But my question is this: why do we have to get so far out on the ledge before we start to believe God exists? Why do I have to get down to $2 in my account before I realize that I'm worthy of being supported? Why do I have to get to the very edge of everything about to cave in on my life before, Superman God shows up to make everything okay? That's my belief. That's my own belief that I have to get to that very far edge to prove that God is that powerful. And I don't want to go that far anymore. So worry is a wasted emotion. It's a wasted, I would say it's not emotion. It's a wasted habit. It's a wasted, It's just a waste. I had a good word. I can't think of it. It's getting late. Okay, so when we are conscious that spiritual laws are working in our life, when you're conscious of that, when something's happening, when things happen, because they do, we're able to stop ourselves and choose wisely how we're going to react to it. You know what? I'm not going to let myself worry. I'm not going to let myself complain about it. I'm not going to let myself go tell everybody else about all the horrible things that are going on in my life, to plant those seeds of the negativity of it. I'm going to turn it over to the divine part of myself and let it work itself out. And I'm going to go look at God. I'm going to go watch the flowers grow. I'm going to go watch the ocean and see how it steadily moves in and out as the flow of my life steadily moves in and out. Okay? So the idea of using your, so the secret of achieving prosperity lies in so vividly keeping yourself centered in the inner focus of affluence that you literally exude the consciousness of it. Okay, it's an inside job. Prosperity consciousness gained by getting centered at the root from reality within. Okay. All right, so what I'm going to do before we end here, I'm going to do it quickly, because I am committed for us to be complete when we need to be complete. All right, so this is what I'm going to do. On the next 2 pages of your packet, there's something called your life plan, my life plan. So this is one more, a little bit of this is an exercise. It's a cross between a visioning and a guided meditation. So I'm just going to invite you to listen. I'm going to lead you through this. And what we're going to do is we're going to talk about all the different areas of your life. Now, where we put our attention grows. We know that. And so the idea of us doing these classes periodically, the idea of hearing, age-old wisdom that we all know within ourselves, coming together in consciousness as a group here, is to bring that focus back to our center and to remind ourselves that we are full, whole beings. So what this exercise is going to do is it's going to give you an opportunity to make some commitments to yourself in these different areas. And I'm going to encourage you, I'm going to go kind of, not quickly, but briskly through it. And what I encourage you to do is just write down what comes to you quickly. Don't think too much about it. Remember, we're in our hearts, we're not in our heads here. And so the idea is when you go away from here, you'll have a commitment for yourself of how you can fully express who you are in your life. Okay? Are you with me? Okay. All right. So, again, I'm going to invite you to take a deep breath and close your eyes just for a moment. And so this is our life plan. And so grounding ourselves back into the heart and connecting with that infinite divine one within, we open to this truth revealing itself as the wisdom through each of us. And so we'll begin with my spiritual plan. Having a strong plan for our spiritual life is essential for a meaningful experience. All of life is an expression of God, and how we choose to express that life is our divine expression. So take a moment and decide, what is the spiritual plan for my life? How much time am I willing to devote to my spiritual practice every day? Am I willing to read, to meditate, to pray? If someone should need my help, am I willing to say yes to them? Am I willing to take part in special activities that allow me to express my spirituality more completely? What important spiritual things do I want to accomplish in my life? And so just think on these things for a moment. And when you're ready, I'll invite you to open your eyes and write your spiritual plan. And so next up is my mental plan. So again, just go ahead and close your eyes when you're ready. All of life is created through the power of the mind. Every thought is creative and has a real effect in our world. So take a moment and decide, what is the mental plan I have for my life? What plan do I have for making greater use of my mind? Am I willing to always hold a positive image of myself and others? Am I willing to give up ideas of judgment? Am I willing to live consciously and give up habits which cause me to live unconsciously? Do I allow others' thoughts to operate through me? Am I willing to see the oneness of all life? Am I able to be at peace with myself? And so think on these things for a moment, and when you're ready, gently open your eyes and write your mental plan. And moving on to the emotional plan. The emotions make life rich and meaningful when they are loving and pure. Destructive emotions create hell on earth. It's important to have an emotional plan for your life because there's no reality to fear. No one can harm you or hurt you without your permission. So take a moment and decide, what's the emotional plan I have for my life? Am I willing to love others and accept them as they are? Am I willing to trust and let go of fears that can eat away at my peace of mind? Am I willing to not take things personally and allow others to have their feelings, even if they're not the same as mine? Am I willing to know that all of my emotions come from ideas, and that by changing my ideas, the emotions will heal themselves? Am I willing to be there for others without getting invested emotionally in their problems? Am I willing to forgive and forget the past, the old hurts, so that now, today, I can move into my future with joy? And so think on these things for a moment, and when you're ready, write your emotional plan. And then we'll move on to our health plan. Health is wealth, as the wise man knows. Our bodies are our instruments for our lives here. It's important to have a plan for our health that can carry us happily through our years on this planet. We have no right to be cruel to our bodies. So take a moment and decide, what's the plan I have for my health? Am I dedicated to making healthy choices about the foods I eat? Am I willing to give up eating habits that are hurting me now? Am I willing to balance my time so that I live a peaceful existence that nourishes me and allows me to feel good about myself? Am I willing to go to bed at an early hour so that I awake each morning feeling fresh and restored? Am I willing to exercise every day so that all of my muscles and nerves and organs and bones feel appreciated and well used during my life? Am I willing to use my breath as a tool for calming myself and for releasing toxic ideas from my body? Am I willing to rest and relax my body, mind, and spirit regularly so that I live a life that is refreshing and energetic and joyous? Am I willing to devote a portion of my life to play? And so think on these things for a moment, and when you're ready, writing your plan for your health. And so I know we're going through this rather quickly, but I'm going to move on. Sorry. We're coming up on 8, and I want to make sure we get through the whole thing. So our financial plan, my financial plan on the second page. To thrive is to prosper, to flourish and be abundant. It's unnecessary for anyone to live in limitation. And it's important to have a plan for handling your financial resources so that along with the rest of your life, you can live and support your own values. So take a moment and decide, what's the financial plan I have for my life? What is your estimate of yourself, and what value do you put on your time? Which of your work and services do you intend to charge money for? Which do you intend to give away to help the world and others? Which do you intend to spend? Which do you intend to give to others? And which do you intend to save for yourself? And so let's look at each of these aspects of your financial plan one at a time. First, we're going to talk about the savings plan. No matter what your financial condition, it's important to have a savings plan. This builds a mental state of financial growth. And this mental state will attract greater financial growth to you. So it doesn't matter what percentage of your money you decide to save, just as long as you save it first. So think on this for a moment and then write about your savings plan. And then moving on to your spending plan. A spending plan is critical for your financial stability, and this is something that you could spend hours and hours figuring out, by the way. So we're just going to plant the seeds here, and this is one I'll invite you to come back to. But from this money, you can plan for your clothing, your rent, your mortgage, food, medical needs, insurance, maintenance, children's expenses, household purchases, etc. All of this is part of your spending program. It's important to plan to keep yourself well and in a manner that allows you to feel good about yourself and how you live. When you pay your bills, it's important to bless all of these sources of your good. And so in this moment, or in a future moment, I'll invite you to make a note about your spending plan. And I'm going to move on to your giving plan pretty quickly here. Okay. So to be truly prosperous, you must learn to give. When we give, we set the law of receiving in motion. So your giving is a reflection of who you are. You can give to anyone or anything that you feel is meaningful in your world. This is the true key to lasting prosperity because it reflects your understanding that life is a divine process of giving and receiving. So take a few moments and ask yourself, what's my plan for giving? And as you'll see here, there's 3 places we have listed here for giving. 3 ways to give. The first is to seed that which you love in your life. For example, if you're seeking to become a teacher of children, you may wish to give seed money to someone who has an exciting new idea for a school. This act of giving allows you to express your creative presence as a force for good on the planet. It also magnifies your intention to truly become one who identifies themselves as a teacher of children. The second way to give is to tithe. A tithe is a thank you of appreciation for what you've received in your life. In this way, you can give to the people in the organization that has enriched your life. But truly, you are saying thank you to God for all the riches and blessings that reach you every day. Traditionally, this tithe of thank you has been identified as 10% of your income, but it can be any amount that feels comfortable for you. Dr. Christian likes to say that the tithe are training wheels. And the third way of giving is to give to your inner child. This is the rich inner soul within you and honoring of him or her. This money is never to be spent unless the inner voice of your child agrees. This tithe to the inner child is a fund that grows and becomes a way in which you are grounded and supported as a channel for all good. And so there are 3 giving programs, one in which you seed good, one in which you tithe to the organization who represents the highest good to you, and one to the inner child within you, your personal soul. And so think on this for a moment and then make a note for yourself about your giving plan. Okay, so then when you're done, I'm going to invite you to hold your life plan here in your hands. In this packet, you have your commitments to your spirit and to one another. We've come together in our own little mini community within this community and made an agreement to live a certain way tonight. Did you know that? You said yes to that, and we have done it together. And so even this little group of this community is a powerful seed for good, not only for Seaside, but for this community and this world. Because we have said yes, because we know that we are divine, because we know that we are full expressions of God, because we know that we say yes to things and we don't limit ourselves. We are beacons of light for everyone around us. And so as you take this in your hand, I'm going to invite you to close your eyes for 1 second and let's just bless it. Let's bless these agreements we've made to one another and to yourselves. Let's bless this life plan that you can go back to and expand after this evening. And just put the power of the divine, that initial intention that you got in touch with this evening when we began, let's put that intention of creation onto this plan. And so breathing that in, and again connecting to your heart as you do this, we are planting the seed. Planting the seed to surrender anything that inhibits your fullest, most magnificent, powerful manifestation and expression in this world. There is no possibility of the divine not showing up as you because you are doing what you are doing right now. And so Ernest Holmes says, the person who can throw himself with complete abandon into that limitless sea of receptivity, having cut loose from all apparent moorings, is the one who will always receive the greatest reward. We surrender any moorings, we surrender any attachments, and throw ourselves to the middle of our sea of abundance, and there can be nothing but prosperity. And there can be nothing but wholeness. And there can be nothing but a full, rich experience of this life. And so it's with great gratitude that I bless these intentions. I bless this time. I bless each person here as we have come together and we continue to move on in consciousness in this experience of growth and expansion. And just giving thanks, I surrender and allow it to be, and so it is.
I need you, you need me. We're all a part of God's loving. Stand with me, agree with me. We're all a part of God's loving. It is the will that every need be supplied. You are important to me. I'm so glad you're in my life. I need you, you need me. We're all a part of God's loving. Stand with me, agree with me. We're all a part of God's loving. It is the will that every need be supplied. You are important to me. I'm glad you're in my life. I'm glad you're in my life. I'm so glad you're in my life.
Thank you, Reverend Fran. Beautiful. Beautiful. Well, thank you so much, everyone, for coming. Let's thank Ed for my first PowerPoint. I've never made PowerPoint before. I taught myself at 2 o'clock today. I was really happy about that. Thank you, Ed, for running that. Thank you, Tim, for doing our podcast. All right, so who wants a book? There you go. Come on. It's my gift. See, she knows how to receive. There you go. All right, thanks so much. Have a great night. Come next week. Say good things about me next week. Let's see how your week goes and share how it goes. And I'll be around if you've got any questions. But thanks so much for coming. God bless you all.